Hey, how you guys doing today? Today I'm kind of gonna be doing a new thing. So with reviews, there were also theories, and I've been actually wanting to do theories for a very long time now, and I haven't actually had this channel for very long. But way before this, I've always wanted to do theories, and I've always wanted to do reviews, and then I'm also gonna be doing music on top of that. So I think what my channel is gonna be is it's gonna be basically reviews, and then theories, and then music like I've been trying to do because I've always loved anime and I've always loved music. Later on, I'm probably going to be doing gaming, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. But I have been wanting to try to do it, but like I said in my first video, I would only do it with like someone because it gets hella lonely to me. So right now this is going to be our first theory, but don't get this video like don't think oh, this is what the theories are going to be for every one of my theories. This theory is actually exclusive, and it's not really what I'm going to be doing for every theory, because the theory that I'm going to do right now is for Future Diary, does Yuno love Yuki? So basically meaning the question is does Yuno love Yuki or does she not love Yuki? And actually I figured out that both actually happened throughout the series. Traditional theory, I'm actually going to be doing two segments and two parts of the video expressing like both of the theories. So did Light Yagami, when he died, did he turn into a Shimigami or not? So what I would be doing is on the first segment I would be giving the points and all that for how he did turn into a Shinigami, and then for the second segment I'm going to be doing the points and all that of how he didn't turn into a Shinigami, and then at the end I'm going to be saying the end card and all that, and then I'm going to be saying this theory actually works because this has this much evidence and this has this much evidence. But before you guys say, oh, someone has already done this, I've watched that video. And don't say, oh, he's doing this video because he watched that. No, I've actually been wanting to do this for a very long time now, and then I just recently rewatched the show, and then I typed it in, and it was like, oh, so that theory already exists. But when I was watching it, it was only like a 7-minute video, and the person who made it was a Duo review, and I'll link the video in the channel down below. But I thought it was bullshit at first. I thought it was bullshit on throughout the whole entire series, and I'm not trying to call him out. I'm not trying to be like he didn't. I know he put time and effort into it. I'm not gonna decredit that. But with this theory, I think he didn't uncover most of the lore inside it. I think it should have been a way bigger theory because I think he was just scratching at the kind of the front of it, and like not actually like full on like opening up, because there's a lot to this theory that traditional people that have watched the show doesn't really understand, and I just made up this theory inside my mind while I was watching it. But if you guys find somewhere where this theory actually is, like on Reddit or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you find it, actually link it to me down in the comments, and then or just like link down the theory and then be like, oh, it was on Reddit, because I'm actually really interested if this theory is like came up with this theory before me. So I actually would want to know that, and then I think that would be really cool. So in general, I didn't like the Duo review his theory because I don't think he could have spent a lot more time doing the theory, because there's a lot more to uncover than what he said. And basically what he said was what you basically know when you're a viewer. Like when you watch the show, everything he said is what you basically can come to the conclusion at the end of the show. So I'm going to actually be getting into a lot more than a 7-minute video or that, but I'll link his channel and his video down below. And not like I said, I'm not trying to discredit him. I see the talent. Oh, not the talent. I see the effort and I see the time that he put into that video. And with YouTube in general, with anime reviews, you have to watch the show, you have to make the script for it, you have to just voice it out. And that's not really a difficult job, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of like brain power. So basically that's I'm not trying to discredit it, and I respect what he did. But this is the theory that we're going to be doing today, is does Yuno love Yuki? So we're going to get into that right now. Yuno does not love Yuki, or does she? See, that's the thing about this theory, is that I'm going to explain how Yuno does love Yuki and how she doesn't love Yuki at the same time. And that's kind of, this theory is really like weird like that. So that's what I'm going to explain. But let me get into a little bit of Yuno's like kind of deal, because calling him Psycho is, I think, is an easy way out, but I'm going to be telling you basically like all her mental illnesses, because I was just looking up mental illnesses, and I was matching which one that I think she has, and she has a lot. She's fucking psycho. But like, I don't want to just call her psycho. I just want to like explain what illnesses she actually physically does have. So I'm gonna get into that. DPD, meaning dependent personality disorder. So let me explain what that means. Actually, no, to be real with you, it sounds it literally sounds like what it means. Basically, DPD means when someone is only reliant on other people to fulfill their emotional and physical needs. Yuno has absolutely nothing outside her life without Yuki. So it makes sense that she has this, basically making Yuki's like Yuno's emotional like crutch, because like the things that happen to her, it's just she basically needs Yuki or she can't function anymore. And then the next one is a sociopath. What's like saying literally psycho, but it's an illness, but it's literally just her being psycho, and that's what a sociopath is. I think a lot of people know actually what this means. Like I was saying, it's literally just like what people call her is she's psycho, but it's basically in a mental illness. Like the definition of that, it's sociopath, not psycho. So she's a sociopath. But let me give you like kind of an example of this. Underneath Yuno's like mask of a sweet 14-year-old girl, she's really cold and a calculated murderer, with no remorse for people, and she hurts people for herself and Yuki, being a manipulator. Another thing that she does, APD, which is the antisocial personality disorder, is the full-on blown name of a sociopath, but that's the medical name for it. But that's what it is, but it's basically, in short, it's a sociopath. Yuno showcases this when she convinces Yuki to kill his friends by saying they were gonna betray him. So that shows like a little bit of her being a sociopath, and then her like just murdering people, and that's just examples of her just being a sociopath. These traits are often associated with people who suffer from child abuse or sexual abuse, what she literally had. So it actually fits her pretty well. Let's talk about the next one now. Okay, so the next one is bipolar. I don't think she has this as severely as the other ones, but I think she still has this. It was formerly known as manic depression, but it is a mental condition that causes extreme mood swings and includes emotional highs and lows. And I think she doesn't have this as much as the other ones, but I think it still is there. But let's get into the next one, and I think what she has severely of is PTSD, meaning post-traumatic stress disorder. This one is probably, honestly, the realest one for her, because what she actually has due to her childhood and like her life. Basically, what it means is it literally is like a traumatic thing that happened in your past that harms you or harms your brain. For physically, it either harms you physically or it just harms your brain forever. What basically tortures you for the rest of your life, because you always get flashbacks, and it's mostly people mostly have it in wars, and it's a very serious illness that is just really crazy to me. And I think she really has this because she never got the love and the affection from her mother and her father. She got abused, she had to eat straw, she had no food, she had no love, and I think she severely has this more than anything else in general, because that's why I think she just goes really psycho, because she can't control her emotions just because she had a tough life. And in general, I think even before, like, because she's 14 in the show, but maybe like when she was 8 or 7, she was still abused and all that. So it's crazy to me, and it's a really serious illness that a lot of people have, and I really feel for them. I can't believe that people have to deal with that on a daily basis, and it's just crazy to me. So the next one I think she has is MPD, meaning mixed personality disorder, and I think this is another one I think she really has. It's kind of like bipolar, but it's a little bit different. Instead of mood swings, it's just completely changes her personality. Let me show you a little scene that I think really proves this.
Don't be nervous, sweetie. Hey, as long as I'm in your corner, these guys have nothing.
Yeah, sure.
We've been corralled here like lambs to the slaughter.
What?
We have to keep our diaries safe at all costs. First things first, though. Find a weapon.
See, she completely changes her personality to happy to psycho or crazy. She can go really happy or psycho. Basically what happens is you have multiple personalities inside one body or one vessel that can switch off and on at any given time. So you can be like a terrorist in one personality, or you can be like a grandma in one. Like it could be that severe. It could be honestly anything. Okay, so next up I'm going to be talking about how Yuno does love Yuki and the actions that show that she does love Yuki and she doesn't love Yuki. So that's what I'm going to be talking about up next. Okay, so a disclaimer before you watch the rest of the part. It may sound a little bit chopped together because it is. Because I was talking about a lot of stuff, like basically Yuno 3, Yuno 1, like the timeline, and it gets really fucky after a while, I'll be honest. But if you don't understand it, I'm gonna have a document or like I don't know, I'm gonna write down my script for like all of that. For the full theory of everything, so if you can't actually understand what I'm saying, because I stutter a lot inside it, and I repeat some words, and I understand that, and I was understanding that when I was actually reading it out, but I just didn't have the brain power to do it again, because it was 25 minutes of just doing this shit, and it was impossible, because I'm talking about the timeline, I'm talking about different theories, so I'm just sorry if it sounds hobbled together, but if you want the full theory, I'm going to be writing a new document of like a clear theory for it, but I'm sorry if I sound a little bit stuttery, or I just repeat my words, or I don't understand in some parts. What I really do think is really at the end of everything, kind of my thoughts on everything. It's kind of like a little extra credit, so if you want to like actually understand what I'm really coming at, and then understand my all my point of views, it's like an extra little video at the end, and then I'm going to be telling you a more clearer point of view and a more clearer thoughts. So I'm sorry if it sounds a little bit chopped together, and that's my mistake, but if you want to read the full theory, I'll have a document, or I'll write something, and I'll write the full theory inside like a document, so you guys can read it. So just a disclaimer before you read the rest. So I hope you like it. Thank you. Okay, so with those things out of the way, her like mental illnesses and like kind of Yuno's not personality but her problems out of the way, I'm going to get on with the theory, and then I also said there was going to be mini theories, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So you remember in the final episode, she said if Yuki didn't actually say maybe when we get older we'll get married, if anybody would have said that, Yuno would have loved anybody. And it doesn't matter who said that, Yuno would love that person because that person would give her hope for the future. And it's not just based by Yuki, it is based by anybody who would have said that. Because if anybody would have said that, she would have loved them and not Yuki, because at that time she was in a very dark place and she didn't know the full grasp of her emotions. She didn't know anything. Everything was black to her. So Yuki was not the only one that could have set her her mind free and give her hope. Anybody could have said that, causing her to get hope. And on the mini theory side, let me show you a scene.
Yeah, sorry about the lights. We're kind of off the grid at the moment.
Oh, it's all right. This setup is, I don't know. Right, nature calls. I had no clue. Who would've? Sometimes all you have to do is walk through a door and boom, game changer.
Yet, as if in scorn of my design, something marvelous has intervened. The playing field is transformed.
So you see how he had hesitation opening that door? Because in World 1, he didn't open the door, making it a aka happy ending for Yuno, because Yuki never knew Yuno was a psychopath. So to be fair with you, I think in World 2, since he opened that door, I don't think it really did matter in general, because I think that's what Yuno wanted. Because you may think Yuno would already know that door would be open because she has tabs on Yuki wherever he goes, but no time. So she knows everything that was going to happen to the finest detail in World 2. So I think what happened was she wanted to actually let Yuki go into that door for her master plan. And that's the mini theory that I'm trying to say, and I'll explain it and I'll go into the big theory and the mini theory off and on. So what I think is she already knew the outcome of World 2, everything that was going to happen, everything in the future diary timeline. I think she knew everything was going to happen, but she never decided to use her god powers in the middle of it because there was the OG god of time, the one that gave her that power, and the one that wants a successor. That's because he died, so when he died, he gave Yuno his powers. She can't actually use her powers in World 2 because it would alert the OG god, because there has not yet been a successor in World 2. So I'm going to get into the main theory now. So I think Yuno 3 was not crazy. So I'm talking about the World 3 Yuno in basically the end. So I really think Yuno 3 was not crazy because no Yuki, no abuse, or a small amount of it at least, and the best life. Even she had her parents, she had her whole entire dream. But she still became a little bit more crazy because I know why. Let me show you something that really supports my theory for that.
Wow. Kinda sucks to see yourself like this. Try this on for size. How about I lay out for you what the future has in store? I don't understand.
Okay, that was the scene of World 3 Yuno meeting World 1 Yuno. So my theory is that I think Yuno 1, the Yuno that killed Yuno 2, gave a small bit of her memory to Yuno 3. Basically, what Yuno 1 gave her is her drive for Yuki, her want for Yuki, and her skill with her katana, because World 3 Yuno didn't know how to kill people or use weapons. So I think World 1 Yuno gave a compressed version of her memory, so World 3 Yuno can drive for Yuki and want to be near Yuki, so in the OVA, she tries to look for Yuki. But let's get into the main reason for this theory. Does Yuno love Yuki? I think yes and no, because I think Yuno only tolerates him, or aka love him, but I really think Yuki is really just in it for herself and just to keep herself stable. So I think World 1 Yuki and Yuno loved each other, but that is not the timeline that we're dealing with. That's kind of the prequel. That was before the main timeline, what is the future diary timeline, and I'm talking about the future diary timeline. But the version 1 of Yuki and Yuno was fake love, because Yuki didn't know the truth about Yuno. So I think in the main timeline, it was just fake love in general. In the timeline of the whole entire series, I think Yuno didn't actually love Yuki fully, and I think she did, but not fully yet. But you may be thinking I'm avoiding the fact, like the main question of does Yuno love Yuki, and I'm kind of patterning it with other stuff. I think in World 1, the shock of her family and her love for Yuki, like since they died, made her want to literally go find and kill herself in World 2 and go find Yuki, because I think that shock, she would go to 900 worlds just to be with Yuki, and I don't think for love, just to keep herself whole, just to keep herself stable, because I think her hell on earth is not being next to Yuki, because that actually kills her soul. And you ask, why did she let Yuki kill her if she didn't love him? Well, I think she already knew he wouldn't kill her because she's the god of time. She already saw it. She saw the future, and she already knew that he wouldn't has the heart to kill her. I also think she knew Momo 3 would lock up Momo 1 in the cage, and she also knew that Momo 1 would take her soul and her mind and her whole entire soul, mind, and body inside that little crystal. So let's fast forward to the OVA. Because when Yuno 1 died, the main Yuno in the future diary timeline, she needed just to wait a couple years, because in World 2, she gave Yuno 3 some memories what would want Yuno 3 to want to go see Yuki. Ended up meeting Momo 1, her Momo, because she's still a god of time, and every god of time has a Momo. So Yuno 3 would want to go see Yuki, making her end up seeing Momo 3. What would Momo 3 would give, because she still had that crystal over the span of all those years. So I think she gave that crystal to Yuno 3, causing Yuno 1 to possess her, given her Yuno 3 at least, her memories, her everything, her drive for Yuki, everything, even her god powers, because she still is the god of World 1. So by her putting her soul and possessing Yuno 3, she would also have a vessel to use her god powers and her memories to go find Yuki again. Basically, since Yuki is a god now, because she died making him the god, they are both gods now, because Yuki is a god in World 2, and then Yuno was always a god in World 1, making them actually live forever because they're the god of time, making it the aka happiest ending, the ending that she wanted all along, what causes Yuki and Yuno to truly love each other because there's no one else in the way to stop them. So I'm going to give you a couple quotes that Yuno said that actually supports my theory.
You were life. Even if we're not meant to be, this is the least I can do to pay you back. I'm not afraid to die. Really. Because I'll still always be a part of you.
So I'm going to actually explain what those quotes mean if you don't get the general idea. So the first quote is, even after death, I will chase after Yuki. What that means is even when Yuno dies, she would still chase after Yuki after death. Meaning, in World 2, she died, giving her memories to Yuno 3, like I said, and possessing her, making Yuno 1 chase Yuki after her death, because she possessed Yuno 3, literally reincarnated herself and going to chase after Yuki to live their happily ever after. Okay, so the next quote is, I am crazy, but what's crazy is the world that refuses to let me be with you. Meaning is if they make a world together because they're both gods, and World 2 is an empty template for Yuki to make any world he wants with Yuno, what really just makes Yuno and Yuki make whatever world they want, that literally makes Yuno and Yuki do whatever they want with the world. The world can't even stop them from loving each other. That's what that really does mean, because they make the rules of the world. Okay, so now let me talk about the third one. She said, maybe the future is bad, but there's a future beyond that. Meaning what I think is she knew that World 2 was not going to work out, and also knowing that when they made the new world together, that's the future she wanted to be in. So let's talk about the final one now. It's simple. Your future is mine, and that one is the biggest one, because she already knew all of Yuki's choices, and not with her phone, but with her god powers. What means she knew Yuki's future before Yuki even seen his future himself, because she already knew that what the ending was going to be a happy ending. On her phone, it was always happy ending, because she already knew that it doesn't matter what was going to happen in World 2, every single time, without fail, they were going to make a world together, and it would have been the happiest ending for her. So I think the mystery is solved. Yuno does love Yuki to a certain percent. I think in World 1, Yuno didn't know what love was, and she just used Yuki as an emotional support. But over time, Yuno loved Yuki, and when Yuki died in World 1, she had such a shock because and over time, I think she actually did end up loving Yuki because all of the time they spent together, but she died. So really, what that means is that since she was the final one in the survival game, she became a god, going into World 2, killing herself, and then swapping into the place to have another chance with Yuki. But then she looked more into the future, and she just basically cruised through with World 2 because she knew World 2 never mattered. Because World 2 never really did matter, because she already knew the outcome of World 2, and then basically what would happen is Yuki and Yuno would make a new world together. So World 2 never mattered because she already knew that they were going to make a world together. And you ask if Yuno knew what was going to happen, because she wasn't the only time god. Because she already knew what was going to happen. She already knew all the time and what was going to happen and the ending that they were going to have, because they both ended up becoming gods, being together forever. And you think the OG god of time would also know. Yes, he actually did know. It was more beneficial to him to have Yuno do whatever she wants in World 2 by literally becoming a god in World 1 and World 2, because the OG god of time already knew that was going to happen, and he already knew that Yuno would mess up World 2, but he sacrificed World 2 because if he didn't, then all the other OG gods of time would also have their timeline messed up, because since Yuki and Yuno is in one world and they can be happily ever after, Yuno would never go to the next timeline and kill herself and then switch the places, what would mess up the whole entire timeline, because there would be another god in that world. So what he did is he sacrificed World 2, so Yuno and Yuki can just be together in one world, not messing up all the other timelines. Basically, what he did is, because in the OVA, you saw how he stopped all the people from chasing after Yuno, because he found out, he just figured out, if they both are together, then he can just instantly erase the Yuno and Yuki from all the other timelines, making Yuno and Yuki never exist, basically having only one copy of Yuno and Yuki in their own timeline wherever the hell they are. In their own world, they can make whatever they want. What really makes Yuno never exist, meaning the timeline and all that stuff would never happen, so then they can go on with the game or whatever they do on the next timelines without Yuno and Yuki messing everything up. So basically, all in all, I think Yuno does love Yuki, and the world they make together would be the true love. So the theory of does Yuno love Yuki actually is she does love Yuki, because in World 3, their relationship gets stronger, and then it's actually true love. In World 2, she knew that the love in that world doesn't really matter, because the true ending they have is the world they make together. And World 1, it was only fake love, because she didn't know what actually love was until the end. And then she strived in World 2 to have the ultimate happy ending with Yuki. But I do think Yuno does love Yuki, so that theory is correct of Yuno does love Yuki, but in a more better way than yes, because she kills people for him and she's crazy about him. It's more in depth, and it has more facts, and it has more knowledge, and it has more, it just has more story to it, and it just has more plot to it, and it has more basis than just, oh, she kills for him, and then, yeah, she's just crazy for him. So, basically, the theory is correct. Yuno does love Yuki. But that's the end of the theory to me. My motto is if you can change my mind, then I can reconsider it. So that's my motto. If you can change my mind, I would reconsider it, but I don't think so, because I put a lot of good knowledge into this, and I think my theory is pretty soundly made. So I don't really think you can change my mind on this one, but I would love to see you guys try. Comment down below what theory you would like me to do next, and I would maybe do it. But thank you for watching, and thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next episode of Anime Theory. Bye.